Hello and welcome to the Magnetic Soul, my friend, where you are definitely welcomed with open arms, as there are messages here that might resonate within your soul. There are no coincidences, only synchronicities, and if you have found this video, then it was meant for you to find, you see. For I believe that the messages that I will put out there for you are the ones that will find you if they resonate deep within you. So, let us begin, shall we? Before I take you on this adventure, I want to let you know that this is a safe place and a safe environment for people to come together to be able to express themselves authentically and honestly with an open heart. This is a place for growth and contribution to the well-being of another person or another group of individuals. This is not a place for judgment or persecution. If you feel that you are judgmental or persecuted of other individuals and their thoughts, interpretations, or opinions, then please, by all means, move on. Like I said, this is a safe place for people to grow and flourish. And if that sounds like you, then please pay attention to the messages that follow. Also, I'm going to give this to you as a disclaimer right now, is that if anyone reaches out to you in a direct message or some sort of messaging app asking if you're interested in personal services claiming to be me, then I would suggest you block that individual really fast, because I will never offer personal services in a direct message. And that's that. So, tonight I'm asking for your permission to allow these messages that are going to come. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is the way that you look at life. How do you perceive your life? Do you live in a friendly universe, or do you live in a hostile universe? This is one of the most important questions a human being can ask themselves in their lifetime. Why is that? Because the resulting choice in whether you live in a friendly or hostile universe is going to determine the outcome of your life. Yeah, because you made that choice, and the universe is just a reflection of what you choose. So, what does this mean? Well, if you live in a hostile universe, you've probably already experienced enough adversity, pain, sorrow, strife, depression, anxiety, nervousness, tension, and just animosity, rage, anger, grief, sorrow. You can probably name that list on and on and on, because we have thousands of different emotions, and there's a lot of them that are negative. So if you look at yourself in the hostile universe, that's more of what you're going to get, is more stuff to reflect that. But if you live yourself in a positive universe, then you also know that the universe is working in your favor and to your benefit, and that everything happens for a reason. And there's a reason everything happens, because it's there to serve a purpose, to help you grow, so that way you can contribute to the well-being of humankind. So let's look at this in a different perspective now. Take a chessboard, for instance. This is a good example, and one of my favorite analogies from my mentor, Peter Sage. But take a chessboard. You got your white and dark squares, right? Most people will correlate the white squares with good events, and most people will correlate the dark squares with bad events. But I'm here to tell you that they are actually just events. And now what unfolds after is the way that you will interpret your life. But let me ask you a very qualifying question first off, is if you were to imagine your life, do you think it's at all possible, with a high probability, that you could go through your life stepping on only light or dark squares? Meaning that you can only go through your life stepping on only light squares or only dark squares? What's the probability factor in that? Because it's absolute zero. Big fat zero. Why is it zero? Because one of the primary laws of the universe is balance. And the universe is not going to allow you to have all just great events or all just tragic events to go through your life. It doesn't work like that. It has to return you some point of balance. But let's say now you have this chessboard of your life that you're about to step off to, and try to do the best that you can to navigate the adventures of your life. And right before you take that initial step, somebody comes along and covers it with a dark sheet, so you can no longer see what was previously visible to your eyes. So now you really have no probability cause for that. But now, let me ask you this question. What is the probability of being able to step on a light square compared to a dark square? In relevance, it's about 50-50. You have a 50-50 chance. But it doesn't really matter what square you step on, it matters in how you actually look at the event itself. I'll use this as an example. Can you imagine when you step on one of these white squares that all of a sudden, like, let's say it's your wedding day and everything's going absolutely great and it's just the most beautiful day until all of a sudden something happens or something triggers it and it becomes a nightmare of its creation. One of the worst days that you could ever be alive. Or here, let's say you step on one of those dark squares and you have a very tragic car accident. But in that car accident, you realize the gratitude and gratefulness that you have for your life, and you realize in that moment that you walked away fully intact and no injuries, and there was no damage to anyone else, no injuries to anyone else, and you actually walked away from that. That's a moment of positivity because at that moment you still have your life to live. So there's always something that you can be grateful for in any event. And you really have to base the event off of to what the event is as an event or an experience itself. And it's the emotional attachment that we give to it that gives it relevance and context into our lives. So if you could literally take a look at your life and let's say you have a positive situation going on. Okay, this situation seems to be going almost too good to be true. And if the results are supposed to come the way that they're supposed to come, then I'm allowing it to flow. Or if there's a negative experience that you have, you can always say, well, this situation seems like it would be pretty bad, but I know that there's goodness in this that I haven't seen. There's greatness in this that is yet to come, and my outcome is going to be spectacular no matter what. So it all really boils down to the outlook of life. And here's 3 questions that you can ask yourself in any event that will actually start to show you the goodness and the gratitude in it. And these 3 questions are: number 1, what is the goodness in this that I have not seen? Number 2, what is the greatness that is yet to come, that is behind the scenes? And number 3, what is my outcome going to be? When you ask those 3 questions, yes, eventually your brain is going to give you the answers that you need. But don't you think that your heart's speaking to it and telling you that, hey, this is what you need? And that's what happens when you look at your life in a more positive stance, is that you realize immediately that every situation, circumstance, event, challenge, hurdle, obstacle, problem, or whatever you label it, is nothing but an event or an experience, and it's the way that you look at it that's important, that gives it relevance into your life. So what I'm trying to tell you is that stop looking at every event as so negative. You know, sometimes when you get that bit of rejection from somebody asking them out on a date, or, you know, you get that rejection in your sales call or whatever might be the case, maybe it wasn't meant to be for that person. And maybe that's opening up an opportunity for something greater to present itself into your life. You see, the universe works in mysterious ways, and we have this little radar blip of the stuff that we can see. We can only see a small percentage of the things that are out there compared to the trillions of variables that can play out in our favor. So take this little bit of wisdom for what it is, because if you can shift the perspective of the way that you look at your life from a negative standpoint to a positive standpoint, your life will drastically shift into the other direction. Allow yourself the chance to finish growing and contributing to the greater good of mankind, because your energy is needed. Everybody here is needed. Everybody here is wanted and desired. Everybody is important. Everybody plays a role. Everybody has a purpose, a mission, and a legacy to serve. Never forget that we all have our reasons to be here. We all have our missions to be here. And we all have the people in our lives that we affect. And the reason why is because that's the way it works. And our relationships are based off of the way that we look at our life. And if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, we don't have a good relationship with anyone. And then, of course, then we look at our life like, well, positive to negative. And how many times a day do we actually sit there and think that we have more negative events in our life when in reality we have more positive that turn out to be blessings? Life is about gratitude, my friends. Life is about keeping it real and keeping it simple and being a good human being, which does take courage, strength, and humility. Until the next time, my friends, just take these little bits of words of advice that I'm giving or knowledge that I'm dropping on you and think about it for yourself and see where it takes you. Let me know. Until the next time, y'all, I wish you much love, peace, and prosperity on your journey. And may God presents you with many blessings of opportunity and love.